Right, we're back. We're back. No, we're back. So let's wait for a few views to jump back on. My new glasses have just arrived, ladies and jelly spoons. Just been in the post, so we've just rushed out to grab them. Bob's your uncle. So we'll wait for a few of you lovelies to jump on, and then we're going to be going through the 206 form and ecclesiastical deed poll. Okay. All exiting Babylon, and I want you to come with me. Okay. Boom shakalaka. Righto. Oh, okay. 24th, 6th of July, 24th of June. Just bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just waiting for a few of you lovelies to jump on. Da, 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 da. And then we'll get rolling. Aaron Tilson, God bless you. Da, da, da. Right. Okay. So, here we go then. Who's in the room? No one's in yet. Right, okay. Can't. Yeah, we'll go through that, Gav. We'll go through that. We're going to go through all that. I'm just waiting for a few more to jump on, and then we're going to get out of Babylon together. Okay. Let me just find this. So we're going to go through the history. We're going to go through. Where's my phone? So I need to be able to see what you're seeing when I change this screen, because I want to try and do this proper this morning as best we can. So let's have a look. Where's my YouTube? Just bear with me. Asteroids are going to be hitting the Earth in September. Fantastic. Wouldn't bother me at all. What a fucking, that'd be a great show, wouldn't it? People hang on to life too hard. Don't get me wrong, life is life precious? I think it can be. But we seem to think that this is the be all and end all. But what we fail to realise is that we don't come from here. This is just a gig for us. This is somewhere where we come to learn, to love, to hate, to get all them emotions and experience, all right? Everything that we do in this world is an experience, okay? And that's what many of us forget. We get so embroiled with what is of this world, and we seem to think that it is the be-all and end-all, okay? And it certainly isn't. So we're going to be talking this morning on this StreamYard broadcast, how we got here. So in 1665, we had the Great Fire. Hang on. 1665 was the Great Fire. 1666 was the fire, wasn't it? So basically, the Great Fire of London happened, and it happened in. Let's have a look at it. Actually, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this. Great Fire of London facts, okay? So, the Great Fire of London. Now, I don't know why you'd call a fire of that magnitude great, to be fair. It happened between the 2nd and the 5th of September in 1666. There's a depiction here of the Great Fire of London. The fire began in a bakery in Pudding Lane. Before the fire began, there had been a drought in London that lasted for over 10 months, so the city was very dry. In 1666, lots of people had houses made of wood and straw, which burned easily, and they were very close, very, very, very close. The houses back then were built where they had underpasses and the tops of the houses were cantilevered out, and a lot of people used to be able to touch from window to window, and the recess going back underneath would be a good 6 to 8 foot. The reason for that is people used to throw their effluent out into the middle of the street, their shit and piss, excuse my French, they did. And the middle of the road where all the horses and that went was, if you took your chance in the middle of that road, then you'd be swimming in a trough of nastiness. But and this is the reason why the fire took place. Now, how did they stop that? They burnt down a lot of other buildings to stop the fire leaping, like you would do in a forest, etc., etc. You have fire breaks, so they blew up some stuff to make a fire break, so the fire had to stop, and that's what they did. Let's see more items. So what happened in 1666? The population was quite low. So what Parliament was made, it was to serve the people, right? That was the only reason Parliament was ever formed. It was like a service to the people, where these people of wisdom, great governance, great spirit were supposed to be, that had an overreaching greatness and reverence for the people. And they were supposed to be godly people, spiritual people that looked after all the men and women in this country, okay? And they failed to do that. But that's the people that were back there. But in 1666, because after this big great fire that took place, they never knew who was alive and who was dead. So they didn't know whether Bob Smith, who lived in Tottenham, was alive, or Jim Reynolds that lived in Tooting. They didn't know. I mean, obviously it was a city, the City of London. So what they did was they created this Act of Parliament called the SKV, and you had to. And I actually went to school called Haberdasher Aske's. What was that delivery for me? And it was close to this school called Samuel Pepys. And Samuel Pepys' school was not a very good school, to be fair. But it's literally just down the road. And Samuel Pepys was quite an eloquent individual of that time period. Samuel Pepys wrote this in his diary. What we know happened during the Great Fire, because people then wrote about it in letters and newspapers. For instance, Samuel Pepys wrote about it in his diary. Artists who were alive in 1666 painted pictures of the fire afterwards, so we would know what it would look like if we'd have been there too. The two great fires, the fight fires during the time, people would have used leather buckets, metal hooks, and water squirts. So yeah, Sir Christopher Wren designed a monument to remember the Great Fire of London, which still stands today. And I actually can remember in the 70s racing my granddad and my brother up to the top. And me and my brother left my granddad behind, bless him, my granddad Fred. But we had a right laugh. And when you got to the top of the monument, you walked out onto the balcony. It's a beautiful building. Whether you can still go up that, I'm not too sure. But back then, you just walked into it, you went up and you come down. Now, I'm sure now if you can go up the monument, that you've got to pay some sort of homage or token gesture of £1, £2, £5, or whatever it is. And they always come out with this excuse, it's to maintain the build. No, it's not. It's not. It's because the country's been incorporated by corporations, all right? It's the only reason you have to pay to use anything in the public domain is because it's been incorporated on, okay, and it's been claimed to be owned. And when you actually own something, you can charge like say for instance my place here, I've got quite a nice place. If I was to do my gardens and they were fantastic, the layout was amazing and people kept commenting, I could then say, right, I'm going to open up my gardens 3 times a week, on a Monday and a Wednesday and a Friday, and if people want to come and sit and have a cream tea and a scone, then I might charge them £15 for the privilege, and they're only going to come past my gates once they give me that £15. So that's what's happened with all of our public property, ladies and gentlemen, including our courts, okay? Because back then the courts were free, the public stuff was free. The parks are free. Everything was free. Okay. We didn't have to worry about being raped to go out and enjoy a day out in our public domains. We didn't. So the monument itself is there as a remembrance of the Great Fire of Pudding Lane. So on the 2nd of September in EC3, a fire broke out in Pudding Lane in London a little after midnight. How convenient, and eventually spread across most of the cities. I just wonder how many bakeries are cooking and baking at midnight. I would suggest probably not many. I know that bakers get up early to start their stuff, but to actually be baking at that time, I'm not too sure. Maybe the ovens. I don't know. Personally, I think there's some subjecture. If you take the one off if you take the one off of this, you're just left with 666, and we know what people seem to think that means. The very last fire was extinguished early in the morning, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, you get the picture of the Great Fire of London, okay, which leads us into the Sesquive. So this Sesquive, Sedeke, it's actually pronounced Sedeke, it's French, because we spoke French in this country after William the Conqueror, Battle of Hastings and that. We spoke French in this country for a long time. We was under French rule, and all of the acts of parliament and the statutes that go for it today are always read out and agreed to or thrown out in French. Okay, so the Sesquive means he who lives. All right, now ladies and gentlemen, if you've had children and you have had a son, been fortunate enough to have a son, you will know that up until the age of 7, that young man is addressed as master. Okay. Now, titles in the Bible are referenced, and it basically says in the Bible that titles are for the egos, to inflate the egos of men. That's all. Okay. So when we're a lord, we're a lady, we're a mayor, we're a dignitary, we're a prime minister, it's just inflation of an ego. That's all it is, okay? But when real men and women know who they are and they read the good book, they know that titles are just that, are literally just that. But you would know that a son up to the age of 7, when he gets any letters in the post, birthday cards, well wishes, stuff from government, from the doctors, is always addressed as master, okay? Now, Mr. is an abbreviation of master. So you're all masters. When they write to Mr. So-and-so, so-and-so, that's master, so-and-so, so-and-so. Now, titles are if you write to someone in reverence and respect, I did it recently with a firm that were writing to Mr. I sent them an email and said, I find that offensive. Please just title it up to master. So they write to me as Master David, okay? Which is perfect, because we're all masters of our own realms, which is what we should be. So this Sesquive Act this is where it all began, ladies and gentlemen. This is where the constructive fraud and the unlawful conversion took place. But they did it in a manner and a way as to exonerate themselves, because they put it out there that once you prove that you're alive, the title is revested. Okay. So it's saying if you're dead and you've remained beyond the seas and you've absenced yourself in this realm by the space of 7 years together with no sufficient and evident proof of life, that such persons or persons respectively in any actions commenced for recovery of such testaments, or by the lessors or revisioners in such a case. And why is this not just in normal language? Why is this so that Joe and Jack and Susan, whoever they are around the world, can't just read this and make sense of it without having to go through all the words? So if you go through the definition of a revisioner, a lesser, a tenement, you'll start to get a picture of what this really, really means. But it does say further down in this act, okay? It says here that when a person or persons who lives, blah, blah, and shall upon all actions and actions be brought to him, and they prove that they're alive, then the title must be revested, okay? And recovery of damages and full profits of the said thingy with lawful interest must happen. So this is why we have to, this is where it all started, ladies and gentlemen. And to correct any fraud, you have to go back to the beginning of where that fraud took place. Now, the government don't see this as a fraud because they didn't know who was alive and dead. And in their defense, that is true. They never knew after the Great Fire who was alive or dead, but you had to rock up to Parliament and say, ooh, I'm alive, I'm John Smith. And they go, yeah, no problem. We will not administer your estate anymore. That will all cease. Okay? So this is, if the supposed dead man proves to be, now I'm pretty sure that most people in government and that listening to us stuff, they must be pissing up straight right now because they never realised that we'd all get this. They never realised that we would be resurrected back into the land of living. And guys and girls, I do this because I want you all to come with me. I want you to come out of the land of Babylon and come back to the real world, the kingdom that was created for all of us. All right. So if the supposed dead man proves to be alive, then the title is Revested Actions for Means Profit with Interest. Boom. Right there. Take a screenshot, do whatever you want to do. Here is the correction of the constructive fraud and unlawful conversion that we've all been placed into. Why does a copper take your car? Because you've not proved the life. Why does the copper take your children and your house? Council administrate? Because they're just administrating a trust. They're administrating an estate that is abandoned. We've all abandoned our estates. Does that make sense? Right. So this is the SESKV. If you want to take a screenshot, whatever device you're working on right now, I'm going to leave this up for a couple of seconds so you can make a note of that. Let's look at the heraldry right here. The heraldry is we have a unicorn. Now, a unicorn is a mythological creature. Okay. This is a fiction. And he's balanced here with the lion. The lion is obviously the king of the jungle. He's the pride. We have lions in Trafalgar Square. We have 4 of them pointing to all 4 corners of the land. They are a beast. They are a powerful beast. And we don't have chickens in Parliament, Trafalgar Square. We have lions. And we get what the lion represents, freedom. Okay, the lion represents the freedom. So the unicorn is a mythological creature. But this crown, ladies and gentlemen, at the top here, which is representative of what the queen wears when she was coronated, and sometimes you see her in her fine regalia, and all these emeralds and diamonds and pearls were all raped from certain parts of the world so she could feel worthier than thou. This is the second coming, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Duet mon droit means God and my right. Duet mon droit means God and my right. Now, Westminster have changed this. Their unicorn, the chain of the unicorn, which is to the ground here, which is grounded to the land. If you look at the new Downing Street, Westminster, that chain is no longer on the ground, but it is curling up in the air with the tail of this unicorn. So it has been separated. And that's just happened this year, ladies and gentlemen. It's very powerful stuff. So the unicorn is chained to the ground, okay? And we'll get the Westminster crest up now. We can have a look at that. Westminster. Let's have a look at the Westminster crest. Downing Street. Let's have a look at the Downing Street crest. New Downing Street crest. So what we need to do is we need to grow up. We need to come back into the land of living. We need to take control of our newfound freedoms. We need to set the record straight. Government is only there operating in a trust. Let's see if it's on this picture with Doris Johnson. So, ladies and gentlemen, look, clearly, yes, Boris, the puppet, the mouthpiece. Forget him. Look at this. What's that chain doing? Yeah, this is the government. Et du Mondoir. Actually, no, they've got rid of Et du Mondoir. I can't zoom in on this. Why can't I zoom in? Let's have a look. See if I can get this a bit bigger. Let's have a look. Let me see if I can zoom in on this picture. Is that Du et mon doigt? See, still again, God am I right. We still got the second coming. We've got the lion. And we have this mythological creature called the unicorn, which, ladies and gentlemen, you can clearly see is no longer chained to the ground. Okay? So the fiction is up. The time period for the fiction is over, ladies and gentlemen. Hallelujah. So, there you go. So, here we come back to ecclesiastical deed poll, all right? This website here, Ergo Generous, has got ecclesiastical deed poll PDF to Excel. So you can get a PDF to Excel converter, PDF to Excel converter, PDF to Word. It tells you all about the ecclesiastical deed poll. Okay. This is because all property is ultimately derived from the divine, and therefore any conveyance of property must be verified as valid. Unlike the papal bulls and other forms of religious deeds claiming property conveyance, an ecclesiastical deed poll is the highest form of a deed, an agreement and subscribed sacred instrument, because upon its seal in blood it represents a command by the divine creator for a sacred instrument, because its agent or Venetian Khazarian slaves to honour and the most fundamental element of trust law, property law and contract law. Why does an EDP have power and authority? An ecclesiastical deed poll derives its power from two sources: the divine, and secondly, the man or woman willing to stand as a competent living being and assert what is rightfully theirs. Okay? When these two forces are combined in a sacred deed, no force in heaven or on earth may lawfully defy its validity. Fantastic. So, ecclesiastical deed poll. This is just doing some Google searches. Sending an ecclesiastical deed poll, EDP, strongly glued onto the back of a certified copy of your birth certificate, along with your live-born record. Live-born record you can get from the National Health Service if you go and do a freedom of information. Then it's in their archives. Personally, I'm not too bothered about getting mine. But that is something that you wish that you might want to do. So an ecclesiastical deed poll, my friends have seen massive results from doing the EDP and the Form 206, okay? So you can get the ecclesiastical deed. Let's see if we can get ecclesiastical deed poll. PDF, which you can download to your computers. Ecclesiastical deed poll. So let's have a look at this one. This is a PDF of it. So here we go. So this ecclesiastical deed poll, 24th of the 1st, 2017, Mike and Anne of the Clan Clark, per curum divina. We, the divine immortal spirits, expressed in trust to the living flesh known as Mike and Anna, the clan, hereby given personally to this sacred irrevocable deed through our seal, blah, 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 blah. So this is the deed poll, okay? You can see how they've done their bits and bobs down the bottom here and who they've sent them to. Judge Philip Mark Pellin, Judge Peter Arthur Brian Jackson, Roman officer who issued demands orders. They've obviously been and seen some Roman curates. If you can find a priest is works for the Roman Curate. They, believe it or not, on a priest's desk in his office, if ever you go to their things out the back, which they call concubines, a priest will have a concubine. Okay. Now that word just come to me in my head, but I know in my heart that they have a thing called a concubine, which is their office. And on that table, I've seen these. This has come to me in visions. They have a sovereign decree signed and sealed, so that if anyone from the state party comes in and tries to deal with them, any police, etc., they just have their sovereign decree and they give it to whoever, and they just get left alone. But if you go and see a priest, the priest works for the Vatican. He works for the Pope, and the Pope is the individual that has the jurisdiction on this terra firma. The Pope has also issued many decrees of recent times, exonerating himself and basically saying that you can openly prosecute anybody in government if they're harming you. And let's have a quick look at Canon 2057, right? I'm giving you some real powerful stuff here. Really, really, really powerful stuff. Canon law, actually. Let's go 57. Canon law. Now, the word law, ladies and gentlemen, stands for land, air, and water. So, Canon Law 2057, any administrator or executor that refuses to immediately dissolve a SKV trust upon a person establishing their status and competency is guilty of fraud and fundamentally breach of their fiduciary duties, requiring their immediate removal or punishment. Just how powerful do you want that to be? Okay. You should have a copy of Canon Law 2057, okay? And if any court are giving you the runaround, not playing ball, send them a copy of Canon Law 2057, because once you've established that you've dissolved the SESKV, then they are guilty of fraud and in breach of their fiduciary duty, requiring their immediate removal and punishment, okay? This is what we are arming ourselves up with, people. This is us getting out of Babylon, right? Are you excited? Are you excited, ladies and gentlemen? Fantastic. Probably one of the best videos I've done on here so far, to be fair, with regards to remedy. Okay, so we've done, we've got the ecclesiastical deed poll. We understand what that is. We now also understand what Canon 2057 is, okay? So if anybody in the court system's not playing ball, any clerk, any magistrate, let them know that you're dissolving the SESKV and give them a copy of Canon Law 2057, okay? You can dissolve the trust whenever you want to. Proof of life. So it says here, once you've got your proof of life, you've established your status and competency, because if you can figure out that you need to make a correction with the government of their operating in a trust, okay? They've just set up a trust for you. And once you've stood back in there and you've corrected your status and your competency, so if you can do that and figure that out, then obviously you don't need to prove your competency, because you've already fulfilled that obligation. Is guilty of fraud. So once you've established who you are upon a person. Now, I used to be a bit terrified of this word, but actually I'm not that terrified of it anymore, because the person in the Bible, as it is referenced, is a sacrificial anode that you use to navigate through this life so no harm comes to the soul or the spirit, okay? That is defined in the Bible as that is. So I'm not overly, I know that I'm not a person but I know that I have a person and it's being administrated wrongly in my eyes. And once we've established our status and competency, anybody in public office that has a fiduciary duty and they don't play ball, they're in a fundamental breach, and their immediate removal and punishment is required. Fantastic. So here we go again. The unicorn is no longer affixed to the ground, as in this one is. Look, chain is there. The SESKV, bomb, 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 is fixed to the ground. And clearly, we've seen in their heraldry. Now, look, this individual, Boris Johnson, can stand up and chat all he likes because he's just a puppet. And we know that the mouth is the abomination. We know that our mouth is our abomination. And in the Bible, it says, when the heat is on you, shut up. Stop using the abomination. And the abomination is this. This is our abomination. But you can clearly see he's speaking, but here in front of you is the verified facts. And the verified facts are is that this unicorn is no longer attached to the land, but the lion is firmly proud now. Okay? And this is March the 9th, 2020. So all we need to do is correct our status and standing. We do this via ecclesiastical deed poll. Okay? And if you just do a Google search and go to this one, which is opg.me, and click on it, you'll clearly go straight away to this. You can download it, do whatever you like. If you want a blank copy of the ecclesiastical deed poll, you will find one. Trust me, you will find one. I suggest you print off a copy of the SESKV and you highlight this part here. You highlight this. Highlight it, because it says if the supposed dead man, sorry about you ladies, you're not mentioned, but you are, proved to be alive, then the title is revested. Actions for means profit with interest. Guys and girls, we're on our way home. Okay? We are absolutely on our way home. So I hope that makes sense. All right? I've missed it, damn. No, you ain't, Trev. You can play this one back. When do our own copy, how do we know what judge or judges to include at the bottom? You don't have to, Gav. The ecclesiastical deed poll, you just put your thumbprints top and bottom corner of either page. All right, that's you self-notarizing. Your form 206, which is your evidence of life, which we're going to have a look at now. Okay, now what I want to do is go through this guy who did a Freedom of Information request, Form 206 and SESKV, right? This is what do they know. And let me tell you, the public domain, the judges and the courts hate this. They hate this because they can be shown to be sin, to be naughty, and everyone in the world can go and access what do they know. This is the information request, right? So it says, Dear Prime Minister's Office, this is from Dr. Julian E.G. Dransfield, PhD. So he's obviously not a plumber, a road sweeper, a porn star. This is someone that's he's got a PhD, bless him, and he's a doctor. And he's now getting involved in all of this. All right? So don't think that this is for stupid people and conspiracy theorists. We've now got everyone in this world now questioning what goes on. Okay? Dear Prime Minister's Office, greetings under the Freedom of Information Act 2000. Research I've done led me to the conclusion that the SESKV Act of 1666 has declared me, Julian Eric George Dransfield, Birth date 18th of April 1949, East Ham, London, as dead lost at sea after 7 years from birth. No document was lodged on my behalf to indicate that I was still actually living, breathing, being with a soul and a heart. Okay. The state therefore took ownership and owned the title to my fictitious person. Would you check if you have any information with regards to this, whether I am considered to be dead or alive, and provide me with a documentation to prove that? Which court or department could also check to find out my true status, alive or dead? Also, where do I file an affidavit of being alive with Form 206? Is that the correct form? Thank you kindly for doing this job. I, for one, appreciate and for your attention of the above, and I look forward to hearing from you within 10 days. Okay, so Julian here has clearly defined his time period as a sovereign, and he sent yours faithfully. So, dear Dr. Dransfield, I attach a letter regarding your request, Jonathan, blah, 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 openness advisor, openness team, cabinet office, room 30, Admiralty Arch. We know they're all Admiralty Maritime. I appreciate your kindness and response. It would be my pleasure to forward to you the proof of identity. I appreciate your request. I will mail you recorded delivery. I would use special delivery. It's £6, but it's its own postal system. Okay. If you're sending deeds, jewelry, cash, checks, banker's drafts, always use special delivery. Okay. Guaranteed. It's as good as personally taking it there yourself. Thanks again, Jonathan, and I truly appreciate you're an important person in that. Without you, I'd be unable to obtain important information in my past. Take it easy. So he's got a bit of a sway about him. Thank you, dear Dr. Dransfield. Thank you for your email and for letting me know you will be sending me copies of your proof of life. In my letter of you, I asked for information on my personal data that you believe we may be holding on you. Please, could you give me an indication of the type of information that you believe the Cabinet Office may be holding for you? Example, please, could you let me know whether your request is in relation to a specific incident or correspondent or a particular matter? Are you looking for a specific document? Please, could you supply me? And look, this guy, Jonathan Keeling, he knows exactly what this doctor's asking for, but he's playing the runaround game. And that's all government does. They just play the runaround game. Okay? That's all they do. Dear Prime Minister's offices, greeting Jonathan. Excuse my delay in answering your kind letter for asking for specific information. I'll soon be as I can. You have a no worries day. I like Dr. Julian E.G. Dransfield. He seems like a decent geezer. So he's basically asking what's going on. He's inquiring about the Form 206 and the ecclesiastical deed poll, evidence of life, 206, which is what it is. Now, let me see if I can find the Form 206. Form 206, evidence of life. Okay, let me see if I can find this for you. PDF. Showing folder. So, was that it? Let's have a butcher's. Oh, what are we doing? RT file? No, it don't appear to be working. Let's have a look. Hang on. No, that's not it. That's not it. I can send you copies. Here we go. Let's have a look. Evidence of life. So you will find this stuff. You will. It's just a case of getting online and just getting Google to give it to you. Let's see if this is it. If it ever gets there. Is this the evidence of life? No, it's not. No, it's for limited companies. We don't want that one either. We need to leave that site. I will find the Form 206 for you. And let's have a look at this. This could be it. This could be it. Oh, you can't see. Let me come back into StreamYard and do screen share again. Right, hang on a sec. So, let's see if this loads up. Symmetry, no, that's not it. Let's just go back. Form 206, evidence of life. Proof of life form, find it in seconds. Let's have a look. Proof of life, let's have a look. Come on then, are you going to... Oh, yeah. If you just keep searching, you will find... I'm going to shut that down because I'm just wasting your time and my time. Yeah, I want to cancel that. So, we've gone... any court that you really need to take down there yourself, and what you do is you take the original. So what I'm going to be doing, and I'm just playing with my local court at the moment, is I have got the originals in my folder. And what's going on with my screen? It's acting all weird. Anyway, is it because of that? Oh, wow, it's like I've got a green screen going. Check that out. It's like brickwork. Where's that? How's that bringing brickwork into the room? Look. Lovely, isn't it? I don't know quite what's going on here. Everything seems to be going a bit weird in the background. Does it have to be a doctor that signs it? Yes, or a solicitor for a commissioner for oaths. That's going to cost you about £6, £7. And when they say swear in the Bible, no, just do an attestation and say, blah, blah, blah. So you need to print off the SESKV 1666, Canon Law 257, 2057. You need your Form 206 and you need your ecclesiastical deed poll, okay, which is... Oh, my screen's going weird. So my intention is to go to the court. I've got copies and it says copy written on them. I'm going to show them the originals. And what they will do is they will just stamp that they've received the originals, copies, and that they've witnessed the originals. And then they put that on their file and it goes on the master file for the fictionist name. All right. And then they will not summons you to any of their courts anymore because they can't administrate your affairs. All right. Look at Canon 3347. Let's have a look. Canon Law 33. Let's do that and let's just bring you in. Right. So let's share this screen again. Let's do it the other way. So you're seeing that bigger. Canon Law 3347, a settlement certificate, also known as a birth certificate since 1837, is an official document issued to validly record poor paupers, granting them certain basic rights and entitled to benefits in exchange for recognition. Wow, let's have a little look. Canon law is really powerful. So paupers, granting them certain basic rights and entitled to benefits in exchange for recognition of their status as being owned as property and lawful slaves, also known as indentured servants and bondsmen. A settlement, therefore, is equivalent to a voluntary slave plantation. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Anyway, yeah, moving on. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've covered what we've had to cover. Yeah, Halsbury state that all courts are illegal. Yeah, Halsbury says that no administrative as court has any standing in England and Wales because it's not constitutionally recognised, and that the constitutional law must take precedence. That's Halsby's law. Yeah, we did that years ago. I don't really think we need to get involved in all that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm at the end of the road with all of this. My journey's sort of coming to a bit of an end with it all, and I just come in here for art and entertainment and stuff. My research and my fight in the system kind of ended a long time ago, and I never really did fight it because you're just fighting yourself, really and truthfully. But that's all we need to do is correct the standing and status of men and women, and jobs are good. And I love you too, Angie. You're a great soul, and I know that you're massively connected to Source. Especially after what you said about my little Rosie that day when we were down the thing. Look, I look like I'm in an aha video. Take on me. Can you see this? Are you seeing this all looking a bit weird? Can you see this? Looks like brickwork now, doesn't it? Looks like I've got my own. Can you see this? Are you seeing this? I'm not seeing it. I can see it, but I don't know whether you lot can see it on the other side. So it's settling down. And now when I do this, look, the microphone's even got a little bit of a thing to it. Looks like an aha video. Yes, you can see it. Yeah, it looks like Take on Me, doesn't it? Yeah. Right. So I'm going to get going. I want to thank you all for your participation in greatness this morning. Together we go and do this. We free ourselves from Babylon. We do it without fighting. We do it with love, compassion, wisdom, and in the spirit of God. And forwards we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you all. Stay safe. Stay blessed. I'll see you all very soon. Take on